I'm back and I'm here to talk about that fancy new newsletter that Toy Fox dropped on us as of making this video 16 hours ago. The main newsletter will be our final one before the release of chapters 3 and 4, but Toby Fox says he'll be making a lot more posts to the lead up of chapters 3 and 4. The newsletter talks about the official release times for chapters 3 and 4. Here's what they look like for us. Thankfully, it seems that we'll be getting at least a little bit earlier than we expected, which is an incredible surprise. Moving down, we get to see him talking about the buy cross progression for Deltarune on PlayStation and Nintendo. Great, but not crazy important. And then we get to trophies. Toy Fox begins to talk about the PlayStation trophies. And there are some secrets in here that caught my eye. Specifically, all of these trophies are all in uppercase. This way of typing, of course, looks very similar to Gaster from all the things we've seen before. So clearly it seems that Gaster's written these trophies for us. These trophies are labeled Pain 4-A, receive Pain 22 times, or meet an end. Consumer 3-A, consume an item. Armor 4-A, equip an armor. Strengthen 2-A, augment your armor. Throne, investigate the throne. Chapter 3 end, complete without issue. Pain 4-A likely refers to Chapter 4. 3, Chapter 3. 4, Chapter 4, Strengthen, Chapter 2, and Throne. If I had to guess, likely the throne that we find in Chapter 1 at the end of the game before we leave. The King's Throne. One last thing I wanted to point out is the Chapter 3 trophy. Complete without issue. One fact if you didn't know, Susie is an anagram of issue. They're spelled the same by using the same letters. Now, this could mean complete without issue, complete without Susie. That'd be a crazy confirmation that it was on purpose. It is probably unlikely, but just something small I wanted to point out. Next up, we get to see an update to the Spamton sweepstakes. We finally get to see the alternate ending of Spamton's Silence, the one that we didn't pick. Spamton's Silence does hold a lot of secrets in it, so to access it, you just gotta go to the Spamton sweepstakes. It says it's over, and you can present it with to see the alternate ending. Clicking on that presents us with a grayscale version of the website. Very similar to when you take the disc and put Spamton on things. Completely deletes this room. And of course, if you watch the video, you'll see that it references that. Clicking on the little audio link plays a more piano version of the song that plays when Spamton's extracted from his shop. It's nice. Now, continuing, everything's still grayscale. If we go down to the very bottom, we're presented with this purple box. Clicking on it presents us with Holiday Girls 1225's Game Secrets and Glitches Theories blog. We've seen this before. It was also inside of the Spamton sweepstakes. And of course, all the comments that were originally there are still there. But at the very bottom, when we click on What's Next, we're of course presented with that Chapter 3 teaser we saw all that time ago. Except one new addition. If you go over and click on the red store area, it goes completely silent and presents you with a door. A door labeled Romb. Going to the top of the tab, it mentions no one will shed a tear for him. And if we click on it, makes a weird sound effect. Nothing happens. But then we're presented with, if only you had blank, your luck might have gone another way. No blank, no crystal. Now if we click on the little blanks, we get a sound effect. A woo 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 sound effect. Now we do actually know what this is. The blanks of whatever it's talking about was referenced by Sham. Sham, actually, thank you, this guy, for finding this or recording it. Going to Sham's and talking to him, he talks about collecting shard crystals, and you'll see. So, Shadow Mantle is clearly important, and Sham knows about it. He had it, he doesn't have it anymore. So, it seems that if this is the secret boss, and that correlation to it, we need to find the Shadow Mantle to be able to actually beat Romb or whoever this secret boss is. Whoever the person no one will cry for is. Returning back to the newsletter, you're then able to access the actual big part of the ARG. You're able to access rare cats. Rare cats seems to be this green cat bouncing around on the corners, similar to, of course, the DVD screen that we all know and love. However, when you click on it, it adds points that are tracked at the bottom of the screen. There are a total of 5 cats, I want to say, which this one, a Aura one, a Rockstar one, an Angel one, which we all know is very important to the story of Deltarune, and one jump scare secret that you can find, being the Smiley Man from Chapter 2 of Deltarune that you can find in the basement of Queen's basement. The guy keeps appearing in things, and of course he still maintains that purple, pink, yellow color scheme. And he appears again and plays this weird laugh track that I believe we've heard before in the Spanish sweepstakes. So they're here, and clearly, since they are appearing in this, they must have some significance. If you play the game for long enough, you are then presented with a bunch of stained glass windows. Stained glass windows are, of course, related to a church, and we all know Chapter 4 is going to be a church. If we end up clicking on them, we're presented with a dog check screen. This set of dog check screens always have the words, "The Growl Lost Wood Forest Where." These are always jumbled in some sort of way. If you click on the dog, it plays this. And of course, you guys should recognize that that right there is Uwa So Temperate from Undertale. Or at least it can sounds very similar to a motif, whatever you need, it is. So at some point in some next couple chapters, this redo of Uwa So Temperate will appear. But the main thing you can find by continuing to access doors, eventually through these set of doors that all contain this string of text, you will eventually encounter where the forest would grow. You're presented with a tree hovering with a oceany background, and if you click on it, it plays this sound. A single key. Now, lost where the forest would grow could mean many things. However, this tree has the same exact background texture as Tin Grows the Beard, the little teaser that can be found on the Steam page for Deltarune. It bears the exact same background texture, this meaning that that tree that it's talking about could appear in whatever chapter this little teaser shows up in. We do have 2 references to forest already in the game, that being Scarlet Forest from Chapter 1 and found in Hometown. Now, the text from the tree says, "Lost where the forest would grow," and a little detail is that the bunker has vines and such growing from within the inside of the bunker. Where the forest grows could be from within this bunker. Unlikely, but there is a chance. Returning to the ARG, you can find a page called The Poor Children. Going up to the tab, it says Therapy. This screen allows you to write on it, but whatever is left behind eventually gets deleted. So you have a limited amount of space to write. if you stick around on this page for a while and just scribble, 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 you will eventually discover the in-between tree, the tree where the man resides. Clicking on the tree opens up an old blog from Noelle from the Spamton Sweepstakes, talking about that white egg she found in Cat Pedders. There are two links here, one returning to that guest book we first found in the Spamton Sweepstakes, but then the Secret Cats game, by clicking on it, brings us to a new blog from Noelle. This one documenting a rain day she experienced as a kid. There's a lot of little things here, so I'll leave it on screen for a second if you want to pause the video and read it. But it talks about the Cat Pedders game we play. It literally talks about the normal blue aura, rock and roll, and angel cats we find. Noel then encourages us to try it ourselves, and that of course brings us to the cat game. So, meaning this game that we've been trying is just a mini game in Cat Pedders. Moving on to one of the last chunks of the ARG, if you go to deltarune.com/chapter1/, you're presented with the words not applicable. That's it. If we replace the 1 with a 2, we're presented with applicable. If you go to chapter 3, you're presented with not applicable. However, on the mobile version, when I tried going there and selecting all text, it does say not applicable, but. Now, if you notice the pattern, chapter 1 is not applicable, chapter 2 is applicable, and chapter 3 isn't applicable, but. If applicable is referring to a weird route, chapter 2 was applicable. It did have a weird route. It's applicable to it. However, chapter 3 not being applicable, but could be what Toy Fox was referring to in the trophies, that an average player wouldn't come across it, that you complete chapter 3 without issue. So yeah, there might not be a true weird route for chapter 3, but there might be little differences, changes that do make chapter 3 applicable. Now, if we type in chapter 4 into our search bar, it does present us with nothingness. But trying to highlight it or looking closely, you can eventually see that there is a little line here. Clicking on it presents you another black page, but scanning it presents you with a bunch of little links. Every link will return us to a dog check of some form, and it plays this audio. The audio presented seems to be just some sort of suspensive falling thing, maybe. Listen to it again. Kind of reminds me of how the game opens up. It's building up to something, and then that cutoff of audio. It's building up to something. Click on the link again, just resets the page. Scanning it again, presents us with the same 20 or so links. There are a few different sounds, such as this one, which kind of sounds like someone landing. A dung. Something landing. These are all just asset audios that are found here. And sometimes when you go back, a red dot will appear. A slight red dot that slightly pulses will appear. Which, actually, a little ominous red light in the dark does remind me of the intro to Deltarune, where Gaster presents you with a soul of your own. You can still, of course, access the links here. They keep presenting you with audio. A lot of them just being repeats. Except for this one, which seems to be just reverses of each other. So there's chapter 4 and then chapter 4 message. Returning to just chapter 4, if we then go to chapter 5, we're presented with this screen, which reveals to hold chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5. If you try to click on chapter 1, it does nothing. But if you click on chapter 2, it presents us with the song that plays when we confront Birdly during the Snowgrave route, the weird route. Here's a clip of that. Another reference to the weird route. So, since it directly plays sound effect from the weird route, more likelihood that this whole ARG sort of thing is telling us which chapters will have a weird route in it. Moving on from chapter 2, if we click on chapter 3, we get the same sound effect that played when you clicked on the blank tabs from earlier. Likely meaning that whatever the sound effect is, it's about the Shadow Mantle, and that will face the boss that needs the Shadow Mantle in chapter 3. Moving on to chapter 4, we're presented with the same room that we found earlier. The one that opens up and presents us with a bunch of small links. When clicked on, plays those sound effects we went over earlier. Now, moving on to chapter 5, we get this. This audio file sounds like a guitar being strummed, and to me sounds very similar to Find Her. The same sort of guitar being played. Now, they don't necessarily sound exact. However, they do sound similar. Now, there may be an exact spot that plays, but I was unable to find it. Now, those are a lot, if not most, of the secrets that were found in the ARG, I want to say. One final thing that was informed that I found on, that I was found on Twitter was this. One final room called How Long Did It Take to Make Her Smile? This one's called How Long Did It Take to Make Her Smile? What this screen was allowed you to type in a phone number or an email, which would then present you with another teaser. I didn't do that. I sadly hit the hay last night and didn't investigate it further. So right now it just says thank you. More information will probably come out about this later down the week. Maybe those who actually did it will get information. Sadly, I messed up and won't get that information, but I would love to talk about it through others. About everything I found with the Spamton sweepstakes. Well, the ARG. When looking through the ARG. There probably were some things I missed or connections that would be incredible to make that I didn't. I greatly encourage you to go into the ARG, find as much as you can, find things I didn't find completely new things, as it was an incredible time to just freak out at 8:40 p.m. trying to find all these secrets. It's an incredible time, and I greatly encourage you to go do it. Deltarune is almost tomorrow, guys. Just like 26 more tomorrows. We're so close. Thank you so much for watching this video. It was a little bit of a tangent. Kind of just wanted to get as much information out there as fast as possible. Just kind of wanted to go through it sort of organically. So I really appreciate your patience and watching me complete this video. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your day.